welcome to today's video. I am so excited about today's video. This was a request from a viewer, and as soon as I read it, I thought this is genius. This will be so helpful to anyone that watches it, is my hope. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to pick the correct foundation shade, specifically when you're at the drugstore, when you might not be able to test it out. You're not at a department store where you can have a rep help you find the correct shade. So I'm going to talk to you about undertones, how to understand and identify your undertone, and then just generally how to pick the correct foundation at the drugstore. So one thing I feel like it's important for me to say in this video is that, you know, I come from a MAC background. I worked for MAC Cosmetics. That is actually the only makeup retailer I ever worked for. And the way that MAC teaches you undertone is very different than what you will find online. At MAC, the shade ranges are typically like NC, NW, which stands for neutral cool and neutral warm. Well, MAC identifies cool tones as being more yellow golden and more warm tones as being more pink and red. When you look at drugstore foundations, it is the complete opposite. So I'm going to kind of take off my MAC X trainer hat, put that aside, and I'm going to give you the basics of undertones from the drugstore. So when you're at the drugstore and you're identifying undertones, you're gonna see that you're gonna find either cool, warm, or neutral. Now, cool undertones is an undertone that has pink or red in it. Warm is going to be your more golden or yellow undertone, and neutral is going to be a combination of the two. Now, most people are going to fall into that neutral category. They're going to have both pink and yellow undertones. However, others are clearly more pink or red toned and clearly more yellow or golden or olive tone. Now, it's been said that you can look at the color of your veins in your wrist to kind of identify your undertone. If you see predominantly blue in the veins on your wrist, then that means that you lean more cool. If you see predominantly more green veins in your wrist, then that means that you lean more warm. And if you have bluish green veins in your wrist, then that means you lean more neutral. Okay, so now you're at the drugstore and you're standing in front of 30 different foundation shades. To identify which are warm or cool, if it's not obvious to you when you actually look at the shade of foundation, these specific descriptions of foundations kind of describe whether they're cool or warm. So cool, you'll see porcelain, rose, or cocoa. Those will kind of be names that you'll see to describe foundations that have more pink or red. Now in warm shades, they're going to be more yellow or golden. You'll see shades like beige, tan, chestnut, golden, caramel. Those will be shade descriptions to identify more warm tone. And typically foundation names that are named like buff or nude or ivory or some variation are going to be more neutral toned foundations, meaning they're going to have a combination of both those yellow and those pink undertones. Now, obviously, if you have the opportunity to swatch the shade on your skin, that's going to be the best way. But if it was that easy, I wouldn't be breaking it down for you, right? Some drugstores don't give you that option. So another great option is to take the bottle and stand next to natural light. If the display is next to a window or an area where a lot of natural light is feeding in, take a mirror or take your cell phone camera, hold that bottle up to your skin and see how close the foundation shade is. When I'm doing someone's makeup and I'm matching them, I really try and look at the tone that I see here on the chest, rather so than like right here. Right here doesn't get a lot of sun, so this tends to be a little bit lighter. What you want is you want your foundation to look like the rest of your body, your shoulders, your décolleté, your chest. So I like to kind of identify that shade and kind of base the foundation there. If someone has a darker body but a lighter face, I typically kind of go in between. That's particularly my case because I'm always wearing makeup or sunscreen, so when I remove everything, my face is very fair. If I were to match that exactly, then I would have a face that was much lighter than the rest of my body because the rest of my body is tan. I use self-tanner and I want it all to flow. So I really recommend kind of matching this area more so than either right here or on your actual skin if you tend to be lighter in the face. With that said, my tip is if you were looking at two foundations and you can't decide which is the best, but you know everything around them are either way too dark or way too light, so you've got the two closest, but one is quite a bit darker than the lightest, even though they're right next to each other, I always recommend going with the lightest because you can always bronze up the skin with bronzer and add more color, and it tends to look more natural than if you go with a foundation that is too dark, especially if it's going to oxidize, which means it's going to dry darker than it actually is in the bottle. You don't want to have that. So I've went out and purchased 9 of the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundations. I've got 4 friends coming over the course of the week, so if you see in this video I'm wearing different clothes or different makeup, that is why I'm filming this over the course of the week. But I really hope that this video is going to be helpful in breaking it down and helping you really identify your undertone. The shades that I've chosen are a variation of cool, warm, and neutral. They go from very fair to the deepest shade that I could find. I really hope that this video is helpful. If you learn anything from this video, please leave a comment in the comment section below. It's my hope that this video is going to be extremely helpful, and I would love to hear your feedback. Okay, so now that we've broken down the basic, let's go ahead and get started with our first model. Hey guys! Today I have my friend Jessica for my light to medium undertone. We have done Jessica's eyes, but we haven't done any foundation on her yet. We've put a little concealer under her eyes. So when I look at Jessica's skin, I clearly see there's a lot of yellow undertone here, but I do also see some pink in the center of the face. One mistake that a lot of people make are people that tend to have a lot of redness in the skin and they want to conceal or cover that. Sometimes they think that going with a foundation that has a lot of yellow or golden tones to offset that is the way to go. And the issue that you can run into when you're doing that is that you can have a lot of redness or pink on the chest or the shoulders and then have a face that is way too yellow or golden. So in those situations, I always recommend people go with a color corrector first and then using a foundation shade that does have their natural undertones to it. Now, Jessica doesn't have an excessive amount of redness at all. I'm not saying that, but she definitely has both yellow and pink tones to her. So the two foundation shades that we're going to test are 104 Golden Beige and 103 Natural Buff. Now, 104 definitely leans more yellow golden, and then the 103 leans more neutral. So that's going to be the shade that has both those yellow and pink undertones. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So I think either of these are gonna work. I'm gonna start with the more golden one first, and I'm just gonna swatch this on her skin. Now, obviously at the drugstore, you're not gonna be able to swatch these on your skin, but I'm just doing this to illustrate a purpose for you guys. So I'm gonna be turned that way, Jessica. So this is the more golden. I mean, you can clearly see all of the yellow that is in that foundation. And I'm gonna pair it next to the 103 Natural Buff. So this is slightly lighter, but it's almost the same tone, but you can see that it's got a lot less of that golden tone to it. There is still some yellow, but it also translates a bit more pink. So I think that that's going to be definitely a better match. When you look at the two, you can see that this one is going to, even if I were to blend it in, it's going to look a little darker. So we're going to go with the lighter one, the Natural Buff, which is what I suspected we would do. Oh yeah, this actually blends perfectly into your skin. If you're unsure of whether you're a more yellow or pink undertone, most times you'll be safe with a neutral foundation. So going with a neutral one because you're going to have both of those undertones in them. You're going to have the yellow and you're going to have the pink. All right, you guys, and this is the finished look. I think the foundation is a perfect match for Jessica. So will you turn kind of to the side so we can make sure we don't see any lines? Looks good. What do you think?
I like it. It looks great.
Good. Well, thank you for being on my channel.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Hey guys, today I have my friend Julie here, and she is going to be my lovely model to demonstrate medium skin tones with a more yellow and olive undertone. So if you look at Julie's skin, you can clearly see that she kind of falls into the medium skin tone range. You know, she's not fair, she's not tan or deep, she's kind of right there in the middle. And when I look at Julie and I look at her neck, I see a lot of yellow, kind of golden undertones. So I am looking at two shades. We're going to test these on her cheek. I have a suspicion she's going to be the shade 104 Golden Beige. But we're going to go ahead and test them out because I really want to show you guys kind of how they translate on the skin and what those look like on her skin tone. So these are the two shades that I have for Julie. You can see one has a lot more of golden tan tones to it, and one has a slight more pink tone to it. This is the Golden Beige, which is the one that I knew would be closer to her skin tone, next to the lighter, more pinker tone. Yeah, so we're gonna go with the Golden Beige. Yeah, so this shade is blending perfectly into Julie's skin. Completely seamless. Now Julie has pretty perfect skin. She really doesn't need a whole lot of coverage. So I'm just kind of evening things out a little bit, but shearing it out because I don't want to apply more foundation than is needed on her skin. I really like this foundation a lot because I feel like it does give great coverage and feels very lightweight. And it is a foundation that you can build and you can also shear out. And this is the complete foundation look. As you can see, the foundation blends seamlessly into her skin. I think we got the perfect undertone and the perfect skin tone down. What do you think?
I love it. Thank you very much.
How does it feel?
It's very light, very comfortable.
Good.
And it's not sticky. That's something I don't like, but this is very lightweight and comfortable.
Good, good, good. I'm glad you like it. Well, thanks for coming on my channel.
Thank you. Loved it.
Yay. Hey guys, today I have my friend Komal here today. And as you can see, Komal has beautiful golden tan skin. So she's not quite light medium and she's not quite deep. She's kind of in between that medium and deep tone. And when I look at her skin, which, how perfect is it? I mean, she has no makeup on. And look at your skin. I mean, it's like glowing. Oh. So pretty. Do you have moisturizer on?
Yes.
Yes, okay, it looks so pretty. You can, I mean, for me, I can clearly see that there's a lot of yellow and golden tones to her skin. I really don't see any pink or red tones to it. So for me, it's kind of an obvious no-brainer that she is gonna be shade 108 Caramel Beige. I'm gonna swatch this on her skin so you can actually see how this blends into the skin, but let's go ahead and get started.
All right.
So before we get started, I wanted to show you these two tones just to demonstrate the how different a pink tone versus a yellow tone looks. So as you can see, this one is deeper, obviously, but it has a lot more red to it, where this one has a lot more yellow. So we're gonna go with this shade for Komal. So I went ahead and mixed a little bit of primer in with the foundation, just to kind of sheer it out a little bit. She really doesn't need a lot of coverage and she doesn't wear a lot of makeup typically. So I wanted the makeup to feel comfortable, natural for her, not like it's too much or too heavy. And this is like a perfect match. And I decided to use a foundation brush that applies it a little bit more sheerly. I apologize, this is my favorite brush, which happens to be extremely poorly made and the handle always falls off, but it's a really great brush for blending foundation out. Okay, before I have you turn this way, I want you to look straight into the camera. So I have foundation on this side and none on this side. And really you can tell what a great match this is because it looks so similar. The only difference between the two sides is that it's a little more even here and the small imperfections that are on our skin, which really are not much at all, are covered. Whereas over here you kind of can see those. But as you can see, the color of her natural skin and her skin are pretty identical. Nice. Like, I'm not just saying that. It's so nice.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So I'm going to leave it right there as far as foundation. You can still see her skin through it, but things are just a little bit more even. I'm going to apply a little bit of the foundation under her eyes as her concealer, and I'm going to mix it with an eye cream just to make sure that it's nice and hydrated. So I'm actually mixing just a little bit of a moisturizer with her, the foundation, and we're just going to have you look up. And I'm just going to kind of lightly apply this underneath the eye. The reason that I mixed a little moisturizer with it, just so that it's a little more sheer. Since it's under the eye and that skin tends to be more delicate and dry, I didn't want to put a thicker foundation there. I really wanted it to be nice and hydrating and light. Komal says she doesn't always wear concealer. She has a peach color corrector that she'll use on occasion, but she's not used to wearing concealer every day. So I'm just kind of wanting to be conscious of that. All right.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. It looks like you, but just everything's a little bit more even.
Definitely love it.
Perfect. And this is the final look for Komal's skin. I think it looks really nice and natural. Everything looks even, but you clearly can't see where there's foundation on the face. And not. Do you mind turning to the side a little bit so you can see the neckline? Does it feel good?
Yeah,
Good.
looks good.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for being on my channel.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was fun.
All right.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, today I have my friend Kelly here with me. And we are going to match Kelly's foundation. She is currently wearing the MAC Matchmaster SPF 15 foundation in the shade 7, which I believe was the, what was the name of this? Like a I think it was tawny.
I have no idea.
Kelly doesn't have anything on her skin except moisturizer and primer. I asked her to come kind of barefaced. She has beautiful skin.
Don't judge me, don't judge me.
So I asked Kelly, you know, what undertones she sees in her skin, and what was your answer?
Reddish undertones for my
Reddish,
skin.
Sure.
Yep.
I actually kind of see both. I see warm and cool undertones. I see some red, but I also see some yellow, golden undertones too.
Oh, yes, golden. I like that.
All right, so I have 3 shades here that I'm looking at from L'Oreal. I have the 109 Classic Tan, I have the 108 Caramel Beige, and then I have the 111 Soft Sable. And I'm gonna swatch these 3 on my hand so you can see. So I have these 3 shades for Kelly. Looks like 4 because one of them's gotten kind of messy. Which one would you pick if you were picking your foundation?
Probably that middle one.
The middle one? That's exactly the one that I was gonna pick. You win a car. So this is the shade that Kelly chose. It is a pretty neutral shade. It definitely has some golden undertones too, but it has a little bit of red and pink as well. So we're gonna apply this and see how this matches her skin. Okay, before we get started, I'm pretty confident that she is shade 109 Classic Tan, but I am gonna go ahead and swatch all 3 so you can really see the difference in the 3 shades. So this is the Classic Tan, and I'm just gonna kind of blend it kind of lightly into the skin. I still want you to see it before it's completely blended in so you can see how it translates on her skin. Then I'm going to apply the Soft Sable, which is the deepest shade. This definitely has a lot more red tones to it. And the last one I'm going to apply is the lightest shade, which is Caramel Beige, which is similar to the Classic Tan and undertones, but it's a lot lighter. And as you can see, that's definitely going to be a little too light for her. So I think we were right in choosing Classic Tan. So let's apply this and see. Okay, so this is blending in really nicely to Kelly's skin. You like a full coverage foundation, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I still want my freckles to show a little bit though.
Yeah, you don't want it to be too heavy. You want it to be natural. Have you ever tried this foundation, this L'Oreal?
I have not actually.
I like it. It's pretty good coverage and it's really lightweight. So what I like about this foundation is you can just apply one sheer layer so you can still kind of see your skin through it, or you can build it if you want more coverage. Now you have a little bit more darkness here on the chin. Mm-hmm. Do you usually just use one foundation or do you mix a couple?
I usually, it just kind of depends on where I'm going, but sometimes I mix, just especially during this time of the year where my skin's in between, but honestly, on the go, it's a one and done. So one foundation and get me out the door.
Yeah, this covers it and evens everything out nicely. I'm going to turn this way. Looks good.
Ooh.
Yeah, perfect match.
Oh my God. I love it.
Looks good.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'm ready for the rest of my day.
Yeah. Okay, so we have completed Kelly's foundation. I think it's a pretty perfect match. There's, go ahead and turn to the side. There's a nice seamless blend from her jawline to her neck. I think we nailed the undertone. Everything looks really nice.
I love it. I love it. Look at this. Look at this face.
She was actually concerned that what she was using was the wrong shade, but it's actually a really good shade for you. Good match. So good job. Did they help you match this in store?
I think they did, you know, maybe like a year ago. So I've just been hanging on to what they told me.
It's a good match. Well, thanks for being on my channel, Kelly.
Oh my God, thank you for having me.
All right, you guys, that wraps up this video. I really hope that you found this helpful. If you like these types of videos, that is like real educational kind of makeup theory, teaching makeup videos, let me know in the comment section below. Leave me all your questions, suggestions for future videos down below. Some of my most popular videos that I've had on my channel have come from requests from you guys, so I really can't thank you enough for that feedback. It is so, so valuable. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!